Welcome, one and all, to the Team Gap Silver League semifinal. On the caster desk tonight is myself, Chris Crewman Newman, and joining me is WookieMonster. Together, we will henceforth be known as the Cookie Monster. Isn't that right, Wookie?
That is right. It's good to be back. I have not casted with you in quite a while, so that is a fitting name for us, I think. And we have a game of green versus black tonight, and it's gotten to this point where green have dominated the regular season, and now we're gonna see if they can pull this one off. We do have a couple of roster changes. We'll get into that shortly as they are about to start draft. But what do you think of the teams tonight, Crewman?
Well, it should definitely be a fun one here tonight. Like you said, I mean, Green, historically speaking, has been a very strong performer here in the Team Gap League. So, it's hard not to consider them the favorites here tonight, but I'm definitely very excited to see what Queen's Gambit is going to be bringing to the Rift.
For sure, and they have went ahead and started draft, so I'm going to bring us into that already. As they do lose a ban on Silver Green, they do have an E-sub. That's going to be Axe Bane Stag subbing in for them. Meanwhile, on the other side, there is a sub as well. I'll go over the teams real quick. Windward Ocean for green is in the top side. Arsenic Fox is in the jungle. Boxing and Kittens in mid lane. Primus is currently ADCing right now, and then, as I said before, Axeman Stag is going to be support. And meanwhile, on black, we have Ratsu in the top side. Gitano, who is their sub on the main roster for jungle. And we have Captain Ryu in the mid lane. The Queen is going to be ADC, and Ghost is going to be their support. I did get word that it was actually a York ban.
That's right, Wookie. We have a little bit of a visual bug here with the draft LOL situation.
Yeah.
But it is a York ban coming out from the side of Silver Green. They did lose one ban. They did not lose two. So it's going to be York and Shyvana taken off the table from the blue side. And it's going to be Mundo Ash as well as the Nocturne removed by Queen's Gambit Black.
Yeah, I think that's fair. We did see a lot of Nocturne play from Arsenic Fox in the past. And first pick is going to be Anivia for them. Picking them more than likely for Boxing and Kittens. I remember him having a strong performance on Anivia in the past. And the response is going to be Hecarim, taking that away from Arsenic Fox, possibly.
Very interesting.
Yep.
I have been enjoying the Hecarim recently myself. He has, in my eyes, once again, risen up to be one of those very strong jungle picks in the meta right now. I'm very curious to see what kind of runes and summoner spell loadout Gitano is going to decide to go for this game. There are a number of different options that can look towards, but it looks like it's going to be the Misfortune for Queen down there on the bot side, and Xin Zhao in response to the Hecarim there. Definitely an interesting matchup between those two junglers, the Xin Zhao and the Hecarim. Xin Zhao, of course, going to be a little bit stronger there in the early game, Wookie. But, that Hecarim, once he scales up, if he's able to get a couple of those items, the team fighting power can be so threatening.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I've kind of seen a little bit of the Hecarim Predator, or just the Predator meta in general recently. Like, everybody's taking Predator for some reason. Like, I saw today Trundle took Predator, and I'm like, what is going on with that? Like, I don't know the specifics of it, but apparently it's a pretty strong rune right now.
Yeah, I mean, ever since Worlds, we can thank Showmaker for bringing Predator back to the top of the tier lists for so many of us. But, yeah, Predator is back in the spotlight. Everybody's running the freaking thing. So, we'll see. Maybe Gitano will decide to go for it. Personally, I've been continuing to favor the phase rush on Hecarim. I just value that in-combat move speed a little bit more highly. But the Predator certainly can be an effective option. And what's this, Wookie? It looks like it's going to be the eight-legged comp for Queen's Gambit here. Going with the Hecarim as well as the Rel.
Yeah. That is going to be a dominant force. You stack the Rel ultimate with the Hecarim ultimate, and you get everybody feared and pretty much in a bunch. And, I mean, that's perfect for Misfortune as well. So I definitely think a strong composition coming out for Black right now.
Definitely. On the side of Silver Green, it seems like they've got some pretty strong laning threats. The Lucian could definitely look pretty good there. We're kind of still not sure if it's going to be a solo lane Lucian or a bot side Lucian. They have not locked in their support yet, unless it's Anivia, which I guess is a possibility. But
It is
you were already
possibility.
saying that that's most likely a Boxing of Kittens champion there, the Anivia.
Yeah, um, for sure. And I mean, we do see the Syndra going to be matching that Anivia.
All
I
right.
think that's pretty much a skill matchup in the mid lane there. I like to see that. And Braum actually coming out for green. So yes, it will be Lucian Braum. What a classic combo. We've seen it plenty of times before. And the set as well coming out. I think that's a lot of dueling power that green have, and the Mordekaiser is going to be the last lock-in for black, which means we have a definitely a fun game one on our hands right now.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting. The Mordekaiser set matchup can definitely be explosive. One thing that I would like to point out here, Wookie, about Team Green's composition, it feels to me like it's a very short range. You know, you have three melee champions as well as the Lucian and the Anivia, who really need to be relatively close to the fighting in order to get out their damage.
That's true.
So if the side of Queen's Gambit, Silver Black, can manage to keep their distance, if their mid AD, their carries, can manage to stay on the outskirts of the fight and get out those long range AoE abilities, I think the team fights could look pretty good for them.
That's very true, and I mean, there's not a lot of movement. Well, I guess there's a lot of movement, just not a lot of dashes on the other side. So it's gonna be hard to kind of get away from them. I do feel like Black have the kind of the advantage when it comes to the CC lock that they have, but yeah, you do bring up a good point. I think Green have a good chance of coming out on those team fights if they get hurt early. Xin Zhao is always a very potent jungler, knows how to 1v1 a Hecarim at least. I mean, you can't do anything until 6 if you're on the side of black. So I'm interested to see how Green, how Arsenic Fox, and all of them can kind of outmaneuver the early game here, as black also has to outmaneuver the early game until they hit 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the Zins out, right? For the side
Yeah,
of Team Green, I dream of memes. You know, Lucian is also really more of an early game champion. The set as
yeah,
well, notoriously an early game bully, but tends to get kited out a little bit more in the mid and late game if he doesn't get very far ahead. So I think the early game is going to be very important for the side of Team Green.
that's true. And it's very like Mordekaiser, scaling champion. You know, I don't think he wins anything early, but once he starts to get those items, I'm pretty sure that he wins that matchup later on. And I mean, like I said, it's a skill matchup mid lane. Love to see mage versus mage. Always love to see that. I don't like a lot of the assassins that are being played right now. Kiana being one of them. Ugh, Kiana, like I got stomped by a Kiana earlier. Did not feel
The
good.
worst. My condolences, my friend. Yes,
It's
not a
okay.
fun time. But fortunately, no Kiana's on the Rift here for game number 1. So hopefully you're gonna be able to move past that trauma, before you see another Kiana here on Summoner's Rift. But I do want to talk a little bit more about mid lane here, because I feel like it's
Mhm.
kind of the one exception to this rule that we've been talking about, where Team Green has the early game composition. The Syndra should have a little bit more what's the word, freedom, more opportunities to go for plays there in the mid lane. Agency is the word I'm looking for. The Syndra should have
Agency.
more agency there in the early game over the Iceberg, who's going to be a little bit more on the scaling side of things. It is a skill matchup, I agree, like you said, but I do think that the Syndra has a little bit more threat towards that first part of the game.
I would agree. Yeah, Syndra can definitely do a lot to kind of control the lane in itself because I mean her stun range is so long that it's almost impossible for any immobile mage to get away from. But that I mean that's just like saying okay, well I just have to dodge everything. I mean, it as a range shape it is pretty easy to dodge that sort of stun, but you gotta know how to dodge Syndra because if you get stunned, then half your health bar is gone and it's kind of over. But I definitely think the walls coming out from Anivia do help with that in certain regard, and the stun on the Q as well. So we'll have to see how that mid lane goes. both mid laners looking pretty solid. Like I said, seen Boxing and Kittens on Anivia plenty of times. Know what to expect. Very good on the champion, so we'll have to see. Captain Ryu, on the other hand, I think we've seen a couple of Cinder games in the past streams for him as well. So we'll see how this mid lane goes. I mean, I'm also looking at the jungle matchup here because Gitano, I have not seen him play jungle yet, so I'm curious to see if he's actually pretty bonkers on the Hecarim.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I do think the Hecarim is pretty strong right now. So I also am curious to see what he's able to do with the pick. But WookieMonster, before we go to our short break here, as we are getting ready to head into our first game, now that we do see these team compositions fully completed here, I want to get your opinion. I want to zoom out for a second here, and I want to ask you if you prefer one of these compositions over the other holistically.
Ooh,
Do you think
I
one of these teams
prefer
won? Trash.
I prefer Black's composition. I prefer it because it's got a nice spread damage. It's got the team fight potential where you just lock them down and kind of just wombo all over them. And then Mordekaiser's there to just pick out any straggler or even start a 4v4, So I do like the look of their comp.
All right. Well, we will see if Queen's Gambit is able to execute on their very strong team fighting composition against the favorites here tonight. I Dream of Memes Team Green. This is the second semifinal, if you will. The winner of tonight's best of three will go on to face X Rising Esports Team Gab Red in the finals sometime next week. But before game one, we are going to go to a short break here, folks. You won't want to miss tonight's match. Don't go anywhere.
Call down the reckoning, bring back hope and peace, restore our gloria to live forever. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace, restore our gloria to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power.
welcome back everybody on to Summoner's Rift here for game number 1 between I Dream of Memes and Queen's Gambit. And what this looks like, Team Green, they're going for something here at level 1. Top laner getting caught out. Mordekaiser in some trouble. He's flashed away. He's trying to stay alive, but he's not going to be able to do it. First blood for Primus on the Lucian.
Reckon I could use a rest and a break from all this.
Yeah, that was quite a first blood. It was interesting. Just kind of caught off guard there, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, very early on there, Mordekaiser just not reacting in time. He's just getting a little bit caught out there. And very coordinated, I guess, from Team Green. Clearly a planned play there at that level 1 mark. Worked out for him.
Yeah, for sure. They, you know, that's a lot of gold in Lucian's pocket. He's gonna get a long sword and be very happy about that. Probably gonna go for the very early. Well, I guess he could go lethality if he really wanted to. I think the standard build is Gale Force for him right now, though.
Lucian, yeah, I think he has a couple of things that he can go to. I think Kraken Slayer is also not unheard of if your opponents are quite tanky, which the side of Silver Black, they are pretty tanky, honestly.
That's true. They are pretty tanky. Might actually want to do that. I mean, they do have a lot of AD on their team, and I guess we'll see what Primus decides to build as the early game is in his favor. Do want to see that nice level 2 maybe combo come out from them. And looks like a little bit of fights going on in the top lane. And in the bot lane too.
Primus getting knocked up there. Misfortune, very strong at the level 1 there. That's Primus getting ignited now. He's forced to burn that heal as a flash forward. Queen able to just execute him, shoots him right in the face. Primus picks up first blood, but then he ends up giving it right back.
Oh man, he had the lead too. He just had to keep it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this set, we thought he was going to be able to win these. The Haymaker, and he's able to flash to land the sweet spot there. Windward Ocean picks up the solo kill up there on top side. You're in mid lane. They're also going at it, and Boxing of Kittens landing his combo there puts Captain Ryu down to about 50%.
Yeah, there's just fights going on all around.
Look at that. Death's Breath actually pulls Set closer to the Mordekaiser, and he's able to win out on that trade once again. And meanwhile, Arsenic Fox in the jungle. This is insane here,
Oh my
WookieMonster.
gosh.
The side of I Dream of Memes seem to be outplaying Queen's Gambit right now in every single position.
Yeah, this is a lot of action. A lot more than I thought there would be early on, but yeah, it seems like Team Green is kind of going at it, except for the bot lane. I mean, we saw Primus had a kill. He even had an item lead, and I mean that's pretty huge. But he still lost to the Rel engage. Good on Ghost to kind of capitalize on that stun or knockup rather, and got a trade kill for that.
Well, Wookie, we have to remember here that the side of I Dream of Memes, they had to bring in an emergency substitution here tonight, and that is going to be their support player down here in the bot lane. So if there is a weakness that the side of Queen's Gambit could try to target, having that that substitution in could be exactly what their opponents are looking for.
That's true. As we do see Arsenic Fox, yeah, took that scuttle. He actually double scuttled Gitano. Not surprising, but at the same time, he hasn't been doing his own camp, so he actually did just the top side clear and then went for the scuttle and went to the other scuttle. He will now, more than likely, get ahead of Gitano real quick. We did see that almost skirmish happen up in the top side. I'm not sure what Arsenic was trying to do. I mean, he almost got the kill on the Gitano, but
Windward Ocean
unfortunately,
getting bullied a little bit right now up here. Does still have the Haymaker, so he's able to trade back relatively well there, and he will be able to catch that big wave and no problem there on the set. Should be able to tick up to that level 5. Even that out with the Mordekaiser. Despite that. Oh, that's a flash in. Goes looking for a big play here. Gets a double stun. That is huge from the Queen's Gambit support. The Queen taking a lot of return damage now. And also Arsenic Fox is here for the play, but so is the Hecarim. He's diving in there with the charge. And he's able to pick up the kill on a Primus. Second death of the game now for the Lucian. Now the side of Axe being stacked. He's forced to flash away. He's trying to stay alive. Meanwhile, Box of Kittens here in the mid lane also in some trouble. Throws out the wall, but he's got to go into egg form here. Captain Ryu does not have enough mana to finish the job, but still, getting out that Anivia passive can be very, very valuable.
Yeah, very valuable, but at the same time, Captain Ryu has to go back. He has no mana, and that means that, you know, Box and the Kittens will most likely just push out the lane, force Captain Ryu to lose a couple, maybe a wave or two. And yeah, there's just a lot of action right now. And yeah, look at that out trading.
Syndra has not gone back. She kind of left herself in a very vulnerable position there. Captain Ryu forced to burn the summoner spell for a little bit of overstaying there, a little bit of greed coming out from the silver black mid laner.
Yeah, and this forces so much because, I mean, sure, Box and the Kittens lost the egg, but gained the flash advantage. Well, not even the flash advantage. Forced Captain Ryu to just teleport and flash there, as Gitano was trying to look for something there. Couldn't get his hands on it. It was a good meet down in the bottom lane, as we saw earlier for the two junglers. Fortunate for the side of black for that one, actually.
Yeah, it did end up going in their favor overall.
He's trying it again.
And they still have control down here. Primus overextended a little bit, does not have his support in the area. It is phase rush on the Hecarim, so Gitano easily able to keep pace with the Lucian here. Rel throwing down that attract repel. Primus still had the flash. He is going to be able to get out of this one and escape underneath his tier 1 tower, but did have to expend that summoner spell, and full river control now held by Queen's Gambit. It looks like they are going to be starting up that first dragon.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a misplay by Ghost. Missed the stun, or maybe even Gitano. Because Gitano was not in position for that stun from the Rel. Could not get that lockdown. Would have killed him for sure. But they will pick up this dragon here.
They will. Boxing of Kittens just throwing a crystalline blast over the wall there, but he is not going to be able to find much of anything, as the first neutral of the game does go to Queen's Gambit. Meanwhile, Rotsu up here on the top side, continuing to push in against the set here. And we were talking a little bit in Champion.
No.
Oh, that is Anivia landing a full combo cap that has nowhere to go. No flash of it. Oh, they